Welcome. I'm Greg Coyne. I'm the host of the MISHRM Resource Partners podcast. We're happy that you're able to join us. Each time we're going to have a resource partner on to be able to explain why they do what they do and how they do what they do. And for some of us, what exactly they and their company does. So we're happy that you're here. You'll also hear on some particular podcasts, the same one, some of your own members speaking to resource partners on how to better initiate the selling process along the way and what it is that they're actually looking for from a business standpoint. So we thank you all again for being here. And today's guest with me is Ann Young from Gallagher. She is second to none when it comes to, and so is Gallagher, with top-notch consulting and with everything HR and risk. And she finds it prime that she learns about you and your organization to best fit your needs. And what Ann will be talking about is a little bit more of what Gallagher does, how she got here, and how potentially you can bring them into your fold. So Ann, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. I did not realize, Greg, that I was the first one. So that's good, right?
You put me at ease as well, Ann, so I appreciate you being here. Thanks.
Absolutely.
So why don't you get us started by telling everyone online here a little bit more about what Gallagher does.
So Gallagher, we are a global organization, Fortune 500. We are everything HR and risk. There's so much we offer, but I guess instead of running through specifics, I think for me, Gallagher is all about culture, which breeds, an incredible client experience. And the expertise at Gallagher it's unbelievable. Such a wide, deep bench of expertise, which is how I actually ended up here. I was recruited to come to Gallagher.
Okay.
And really what finally got me was a 5-year process, but what finally got me is, first, everybody needs us. So for me, that was great. Everybody needs what we do. And I'm so confident in the bench and the expertise behind me that I can get anything done.
Okay.
And I can take care of any client, whether you're 20 employees or 50,000 employees. We have a global presence and the expertise to do so.
Love it. So tell us a little bit more too about what it is that you do for them. I know that earlier you were telling me a little bit about a great analogy that you use. Might be a great opportunity to give that. So what is it that you exactly do for them?
I feel like I have the fun job. So I was recruited on a kind of a new process that Gallagher was investigating, I guess.
Okay.
And they were hiring out of industry salespeople.
Yeah.
So out of industry with a strong sales background. My entire career, 30 plus year career, has been in sales. And, I'm proud to say that. A lot of people are like, oh, salespeople. But I am so proud of my profession.
Good.
And with every job that I've held throughout my entire career, it's all about the people, the expertise, obviously. And as long as I believe in what we're doing, and I've got an army or at least a handful of people behind me that can help, I can get in any door and I can build that relationship, which is what I do. I mean, it's a genuine relationship that I like to build. And then I've got all the deep expertise behind me. I came in not wanting to learn the insurance industry. And that's what I said in my, I said, listen, I don't want to learn the insurance industry to, that probably sounds awful. Maybe I should back that up. But I don't want to be an expert in everything insurance.
Sure.
It's too complicated. It's too complex. One thing that I've gotten really good at over the years is to leverage your strength.
Love it.
And for me, my strength is connecting with people, going into a room that I don't know anybody, and just being so excited to be there to share the good word of Gallagher and what we can do and how we can, help their business.
I like it, and I think some of that passion shows through, and I'll ask you about that in a moment. I think one thing too, and some of the business owners that you probably do business with now, have experiences, just what you said, is to delegate some of those responsibilities. You don't delegate the responsibility to the client, but you can't be an expert at everything. I think that goes without saying. But you bring in the specific people, as you said, the teammates, in order to help you and the companies out that you deal with.
Absolutely.
I like that. So one of the things that I've always picked up from you, Ann, as I've gotten to know you, is your passion for sales, for business, for helping people. We'd like for you to speak to that on a bit of why you're so passionate about what is it you do and how you can help clients out.
It's always been my nature. And, when I say helping people, it goes so much deeper than that. It's about executing. So with Gallagher, it's about executing on, a benefit strategy and a long-term strategy. It's not just one and done. Our service is second to none. And without that, we could not be who we are. So we need the expertise. We're always going to execute, regardless.
Okay.
And I think the most important piece of that is we are genuinely in it. So we become part of their HR team or part of, the risk process, because that's what we're doing. We're solving these issues. We're bringing all of Gallagher's expertise. And when I say I come in, I continue the relationship with all my clients, but I have a team that executes on a daily basis. I think what's so fantastic is that I have a global army. So I can grab whoever's the expert in, retirement consulting. It's a larger organization and they have a specific, a manufacturing company. We've got specific talent that does nothing but manufacturing, or nonprofit, or public sector. So healthcare, and all of these talented experts are specifically in that niche.
Okay.
And that's all they do. So when I came to Gallagher, it's like, okay, we want you to get your license, we want you to learn the business, but instead I learned Gallagher, because Gallagher is 35,000 employees globally, 147 countries, so Gallagher is a big organization.
Yeah, it is.
But Michigan is a hometown feel. We've got a couple hundred people in Michigan, so whether you're one location, 10 locations, or 130 locations, it doesn't matter. I have the confidence to walk in and say, here we are, I know where to go, we'll execute.
I love it, especially since you may want some people that do want that hometown feel, but here in Metro Detroit, there's a lot of global businesses just like Gallagher, and so sometimes they need that same kind of feel. So, but let me ask, so we talked about this a little bit prior, and looking at an ideal client for you and Gallagher, what might one look or sound like if you had your druthers, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, and that's a tough question, Greg, because I work in the healthcare space.
Sure.
I work very passionately in the nonprofit space with Foster, the Michigan Federation for Children and Families. I mean, there are so many organizations in Michigan that all they do is pour their hearts and souls into our youth to make, to help transition them into a good home, and that's sometimes not so easy.
Sure.
So that's been a very passionate place for me, because I've learned so much about the foster industry and just nonprofit, and the passion and the care that's involved. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. And again, your passion shows through on that. Here's something that I wanted to throw at you, and that is, if you could give me one insult that someone's thrown at you, but it actually was a positive, could you give that to me, and why? I mean, I know we've talked before, so I know some of your stories and your sales career, and some of the amazing things you've done for the clients. It hasn't always started that way. And so what might be a good representation of a quote-unquote insult that you may have received, but it actually is a positive?
I mean, there's several, but one in particular that always stays with me is somebody said, Ann, you're like a golden retriever pit bull mix.
Okay.
And I'm like, pit bull, first of all, I'm afraid of dogs. So
I'll take note of that.
yes. Second of all, like a pit bull, like where does that come from? And this was a old boss of mine, an old CEO that I reported to, and he said, Ann, you come in like a golden retriever, and people just want to be there. They want to be around. They want to pet you. Well, I want to pet people because I've got that kind of, sometimes I'm a little much. I'm a hugger. But then the pit bull mix comes in. So it's the trusted relationship. So that part was a huge compliment, but I didn't understand the pit bull. And they said, once you build that trust, then all of a sudden somebody comes in for the jugular and you don't even realize it because it was just a process.
Yeah.
So it ended up kind of converting into a compliment because I'm in business and my meetings are about learning about you, your organization, building a trusted relationship, being your trusted advisor. But I'm going to ask for your business, Greg, because that's what I do, right? Yeah. And I think that's where Gallagher had the idea where, I've got consultants behind me, but I am a salesperson. That is my profession and it always will be. And I'm going to ask for your business because I know we're going to execute for you and I know we're going to make a difference. And I can proudly say in the 6.5 years I've been with Gallagher, I have executed and it has been just a fantastic ride. And not just in Michigan, I've executed other areas of the US. So I'm just proud of that because I have such an incredible organization that backs me and I can put the people in place to execute.
I'm chuckling inside and I wrote down a note because there's so many people out there that are in sales like yourself, maybe aren't as passionate, don't have a good understanding and a concept of what they do, even though they've been doing it for quite a while. The biggest thing though is being able to ask for the business, and I think that's incredibly important. It's required, and not every salesperson does that. Not everybody makes them feel comfortable either like you do. So that's awesome. And it shows through in not just this interview, but what you do with other clients that have been through MISHRM and beyond. So thank you for that. I also wanted to throw you a bit of a question, and I laughed because I throw out questions to my interviewees, and there's certain ones that bubble to the surface. And this one in particular was one that you're like, Greg, I want you to ask me this. And I'm like, okay. And so the one that you picked had to do with 3 people that you could have dinner with and why. And so I wanted to be able to ask you that because you were so excited about that particular question, but I want to hear the answer. And so if there's anybody that you could pick, and dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I love this one because I like the personal, I like the business, and I like the, star or whatever, right? So personally, my grandmother, who I called Mimi, and is one of probably 3 people that is allowed to call me Annie. So at 93, she died in my arms.
Aww.
She was one of my best friends. I saw her all the time, and she was just the greatest lady ever. She was so wise and beyond her years. Like beyond her years, that sounds funny because she was 93, but she just was a warm, caring, compassionate woman, but smart and feisty, and I loved spending time with her. So I would love to get her back and just have dinner again, because we had dinner all the time with my Mimi and Papa, and then after my Papa passed away, it was like she and I hung out all the time. So I would love just to get her back, and she knew how much I loved her, and she knew that I loved spending time with her, but she would definitely be one, because she has made such an incredible impact on my life. Quick story about her. At her funeral, there's not a lot of people there, because she was 93, right? So all their friends were gone. But in church, the pastor came and said, does anybody have a story that they want to share. And I raised my hand, and I took the mic and I said, one night we're sitting after dinner, we're just hanging out on the couch. And I said, Mimi, why, like, how does your skin look so good? She's probably like 89 at the time. Like, your skin is just unbelievable. I said, I hope it's genetics, but what the heck? Do you use anything special? And she's like, yeah, you know, that cream. And I'm like, what cream? She's like, you know. I'm like, no, go get it. So she never walked anywhere, which is kind of like me. I like run everywhere. She runs to the bathroom, runs back, and she has in her hand a tube of Preparation H. So she put Preparation H on her wrinkles.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that is her, right? Like, that's probably a dumb story, but it's not, because it just is her. Like, it's pretty neat. She is, so I would have her. My like superstar would be Oprah, just because her beginning was back and forth to her mom and dad's, you know, very like poverty levels, right?
Yeah.
She went to college, was a newscaster, and to think of what she built from there is unbelievable. Her philanthropy, the things that she you know, she believes in women and helping women, education, foster orphanages. Like, she pours her heart and soul and her finances into things that matter. So she's got some big houses, sure, but she shares her wealth, and she does it in such a way where there are so many people that benefit. So profoundly, like, Oprah is definitely one of my heroes and somebody that I look up to. Third would be a business, it's a guy that I did business with, Sam Guertin. I'll have to send this little thing to you, Sam. But Sam still is the global sourcing leader for General Electric. My career, I've done business with General Electric at 3 different times in 3 different companies. You know, it was a cold call. I got to Sam because he was the guy. I had proved myself at GE Healthcare, and then I wanted the global deal. So the first time I met Sam, and it took 3 years to get there, by the way. First time I met Sam was in Philadelphia. I fly in, rental car, I go to the Penske location, and he's in a car somewhere. We're gonna go have lunch. And I didn't know which car. I get out, I'm like grabbing all my crap, everything's dropping like typical me. And he said he was just watching. He was like, oh dear God, what have I gotten myself into? And I'm looking around in the parking lot, I find him. So that started a relationship, and you know, a true relationship that 12 months later, I executed a global agreement with General Electric. It was probably the highlight of my career, but more so it was because Sam and I built such a relationship. And he ended up moving to Detroit because there was a new facility. So I had he and his wife and his boys for dinner. I still talk to him today. He called me to work for Avaya and lead the charge for GE globally.
Jeez.
So here I am, executive band with Avaya. Sam put me there, and I'm like, Sam, I don't know that I have, like, I don't have the, you know, the right credentials to do this. He's like, Ann, you've never had the right credentials to do anything you've done, but you're the best we've ever worked with, and we want you to interview. So I interviewed, and I did get the job, but you know, he has meant so much in my career because I learned a lot, and he wasn't easy, by the way. People were afraid of him. So Sam helped me build my career. He trusted me, and he elevated me where I would have never elevated myself. So it was a big piece of my career, and I just love him and his wife. Like, they're great people too.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. Ann Young, Gallagher, your passion, expertise, and experience shows through. How can people get in touch with you, whether they're another resource partner or a company within MISHRM or without, because this will be going to a lot of people. How can they reach you?
So, you know, obviously my email, my phone number. I am on a committee with the Resource Partner Program. I do, people that are interested come to me. So, which is great because I'm all about the Resource Partner Program. It's been incredible for Gallagher. It's been incredible for me, and I know all the resource partners feel the same. But it's all in what you put into it. So, so my phone number, I feel like I should, have a tricky little song or something. But it's my number is 586-292-8785. Again, Greg, 586-292-8785, or Ann with an E _Young at ajg.com. On the Resource Partner website, all my contact information is there as well.
Perfect. Love it, Ann. Thank you so much for joining us today. Great job. Love it. Hope everyone else does too.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you all for joining us for the MISHRM Resource Partner Podcast, and look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thanks and take care.